Is it true that you and Kobe got into like a little beef over $100?
We're heading to shoot around. Kobe gets on the bus. I remember I had my headphones on. He stopped and asked me, yo, you got the 100? I said, you know what? It's in my room. I told him when we get back, I give it to you. I'll make sure I get it to you. I'll get it to you then. And so I put my headphones back on. Boom, he hit me right there.
Kobe was standing on business like that?
Now I'm pissed off and I got to make a decision because now I got to send a message. I saw them bring Dirk in. They got rid of everybody, brought Dirk in too. I knew where Don Nelson was going. He was loving the European players. They would kind of have me stay out to practice and beat up on Dirk when Dirk first got there.
And you was drafted in one of the most Hall of Fame class in 1996. What inspired your draft fit? You had the hat popping, bro.
There's a hat store right literally next door to the place where I picked up the suit. I was with my agent. We see the hat and I'm looking and I go in and said, man, he said, I dare you. I had no idea they'd be talking about it 20 years later.
When I saw that, I was like, he an Ohio player for real. What's up, scorers? Welcome back to the channel. Before we start, make sure you guys like, subscribe, and share. We want to continue getting great guests. And today is nothing short of that. Today I got a ball, I got a hooper, I got an NBA champion on. My man, first off, he was the first player to achieve a triple-double for the University of Louisville. Played 11 years in the NBA, several different countries, Russia, China, South Korea, Lebanon, just to name a few. NBA champion, please welcome Samaki Walker.
Man, respect. Appreciate you having me.
Yes, sir. Thank you for coming on, good brother.
Sure.
So, man, I want to, like we was talking offline, I watched your career and, obviously like most, I saw when you played for the Spurs, saw when you played for the Lakers. Let's talk about, before we get into that, let's talk about your journey from Ohio to Louisville. Yep. What made you choose Louisville?
Well, originally I was going to Ohio State. I had basically been, Jim Jackson, former NBA player, I'm familiar with. A lot of your viewers probably would be familiar with. Yeah. Grew up. He's from Ohio. So I got a chance to watch Jim from high school and, transition to Ohio State. And so also, when I came in as a freshman in high school, I was playing with the #1 player in the state currently, who was 6'9", named Antonio Watson, who had just signed with Ohio State. So the bridge and the connections were all there. And I was going to the Ohio State games, and I was sold, man. Coach Randy Ayers was the head coach, and I was a fan of his. But, they got caught up into scandal, some things like that. Got on probation, a couple of the players, they got caught. The money was moving around. Stuff that would have been cool today.
Yeah.
Sticking the NIL and things of that nature. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, it was illegal back then and had a different impact. So, the school actually went on investigation. Then Derek Anderson, who another former NBA ball player from Louisville, Kentucky.
I remember him. Yeah,
DA.
Yes, sir.
So I had befriended DA, who's from Louisville, and he ended up coming to Ohio State. So a little younger than Jimmy, I was able to hang out with those guys and get a feel, for the vibe up there on campus. And all those guys ended up transferring because of the impact of the investigation and everything that was going on at that time. So he told me he was leaving. So for me, it was kind of a decision I had to make. Did I want to go and play for the home state, knowing that the core was breaking up, or did I want to go play somewhere else? Louisville was 2.5 hours away. I got a chance to play for a Hall of Fame coach who coached under John Wooden from UCLA, who was already a champion. So, for me, it was a no-brainer.
At what point did you realize you could possibly make the NBA, though? Like, is that something you knew in high school? Is something you knew when you were in middle school?
Well, I shout out to my dad, man. My dad was a hooper, you know what I'm saying? But my dad went from the streets and then got into the corporate world a little bit. So he had a, unique, story on his own, but always was a hell of a basketball player, 6'6", big hands. Didn't really get a chance to see him a lot, but those who was around him, I grew up, he had a Connie Hawkins, Dr. J, the famous scoop shots and all that kind of stuff, and was real popular around my city growing up. And so, mind you, again, I never really got a chance, but he always painted pictures. My dad was a good storyteller and painted pictures about the NBA. So for me, as a kid, the imagination, man, is one of the most powerful things. It is the most powerful things that I think a human being can possess, man. It
Tell
allows
us.
you to envision things, right?
Absolutely.
So you can envision, you got to envision and taste it first, dog.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
he gave me that gift, man, and the gift of storytelling. And so even though it wasn't a knowing that I was actually going to the NBA, I can always envision myself. I don't remember not envisioning myself. Now, mind you, he never really pushed me towards basketball. I didn't really pick up basketball till about 11 years old. I was under the bleachers. My dad played in the old timers league by the time I really started really getting into it. He was playing in the old timers leagues, and by the time he was wearing the old waist sweatband around your waist. You know how the old dudes used to
Yeah.
do it with the back hurting and everything.
Uh-huh.
I'm like, man, the knee brace be all sweaty. I'm like, man, what the hell is that? And so I was under the bleachers playing and everything like that. But about 11 years old, man, I just kind of at the YMCA, playing at the YMCA, I picked it up. And one thing I noticed, man, I had the knack to really one arm rebound early on. And I used to get praised for that. So my ego was boosted just in that alone.
Hmm.
And which I think is very important for kids, man, to be to be to have that ego grown in a natural way, man. I think that really helped me. And my dad put me in the YMCA, let me play, and the rest was history, man. I fell in love with it. And always found myself, back then, that's when basketball was growing. The Michael Jordan Come Fly With Me, all the videos was out. You pop your video in, you go in the basement, you live through your imagination, and that
Uh-huh.
was it.
Yep.
We ain't had no videos, Instagram, all that, looking up on all that. It was you put that VCR, the VHS in there, watch
Hmm.
that tape, you inspired. You go in and then your imagination take over. You go to the
That's all
local
you. That's all
rec
you had
center.
back in the day. We was playing one on nobody, fade away, calling players' names out of shit. And you was drafted in one of the most, I want to say, Hall of Fame class of 1996. Did you
Uh,
did when you
yeah.
took that picture? Did you think or did you know that that picture would be a classic?
Not at all.
No.
Not at all, man. Not at all, man. I mean, everything from the draft day, from the suit and everything, man. It was weird because,
Hey, I'm gonna talk about
the
that suit,
draft
brother.
suit, bet everything, man,
I,
was it was like spontaneous. The hat, everything. I picked the hat up last day, all that. So we'll get into that. I had no idea, man. And I had no idea that this draft would even be compared to, the drafts, the 83 or considered to be one of the top drafts. We didn't know
Mhm.
what Kobe was going to be, Nash and some of the
Nash,
other Hall of Famers in my draft.
yeah, Walker.
Uh, Walker, I mean, you had AI. I mean, come on, man.
Hmm.
We had some killer, we had some monsters in my draft, man. And so
That's a fact.
to be even a part of that, yeah, and considered to be a number nine pick in that with so many talented guys, man, was a true pleasure.
I'll be honest, bro. I didn't like how they did you though. They in the picture, bro. Why they had you sitting on the ground, bro? I ain't like that. Who was
Well,
that? Who put that together?
hey man, oh hey, nah, hey, I don't know, man. I really didn't look at it like that. I mean, I don't know. Somebody was going to have to sit on the ground,
You
I guess
said it.
shit,
Oh, good.
but
And
um,
what inspired your draft fit? You had the hat popping, bro.
I'm gonna keep it real with you, dog. That was last minute, man. That
Uh,
I had the suit, and so on the day I picked up the suit, the night, a couple days before the draft, there's a hat store right literally next door to the place where I picked up the suit. I was with my agent. We walking out, and the hat, they got the hat in the front row, the window, in the
mm.
window dressing. And so we see the hat, and I'm looking, and I go in and said, man, he said, I dare you. He said, I dare you. I go in, so I go in and try on a hat, look at a hat on my little head. I said, okay, I'm doing it. It was like
Well,
that. And so, and I'm Kentucky, you got the Kentucky Derby and all that, considering every year in Louisville.
yep.
And I thought it was that it was inspiring. That was a Kentucky thing right there, man. So it was last minute inspired, but I had no idea they'd be talking about it 20 years later. I heard about it's the worst suit, it's the best suit. It's been all over the place, dog. So But you know, it's hey,
I
it
said
was fun. Yeah,
when,
go ahead.
no, when I saw that, I was like, oh yeah, he an Ohio player for real. He threw
Come
that
on,
hat
man.
on.
You wasn't yeah. I wasn't gonna throw that out there, but
Yeah, I heard
you
that.
know, it was definitely at the foundation was definitely Ohio.
Yes, sir. So
You
man,
know it.
so you got in the league and you went to the
Yep.
Dallas Mavericks. You didn't have well, your team didn't have a great year on the court. You know, I think I was what 20 and 62 or something like that. How
All
did
right.
how do you stay focused on a season like that? Like
Damn, you
staying
first person to really kind of you
yeah,
first
like
person to
staying
really
in the
ask me that
gym and
question.
all that stuff, man. That's a tough task. I know you've been winning the whole time since, you know, from high school to college. So you go to
Yeah.
Dallas.
So I'm gonna keep it 100. It was real tough,
Mm-hmm.
you know, considering that. So I get drafted. Jim Clemens is the head coach. Now, Jim Clemens is from Columbus. It's also
Mm-hmm.
from Ohio. Went
Right.
to Ohio State, and those he was one of the names I grew up hearing. You know, basketball around Ohio, and so first of all, was honored to be drafted by him. Huge, respect, and so and was also my connection to the Lakers. We'll get to that too. So considering he was Phil Jackson's right hand guy.
Mm-hmm.
But so I get to Dallas, man, and it was a tough time just walking in because of the actual veterans there. Again, it's cutthroat. It ain't like it is now, buddy, buddy. Okay, come on, we're getting drafted. I was replacing the guy who was really beloved there, Popeye Jones at the time. And so
Yeah, I
they
remember
bringing in
Popeye.
this young rookie. You remember Popeye? Yeah, the
Mm-hmm.
league loved him, just down to earth guy, good dude, hard worker, hard nosed.
Mm-hmm.
And so coming in, other guys, he had befriended the other guys. And so Cass already had their nose up in the air when I got drafted. Now, mind you, you got J Kidd, you got Jim Jackson, Jamal Mashburn, the three J's.
Mm-hmm.
Should have been on paper a cold team, right?
Yeah, it sounds
Considering
like
you
it.
got, yeah. But it was dysfunctional in the locker room. You had a lot of dysfunction in that locker room, and that the coach had to deal with. And he couldn't even iron out. You had agents involved. You had a lot of politics involved. You had, um, cats, not even talking in the locker room. And then you had this,
When
the
you
infamous story,
when you
Toni
say,
Braxton and all that.
oh no,
They're
I ain't,
going in.
what about Tony Braxton, bro? I ain't hear this story.
So yeah, man. So I get there. So yeah, they was talking about it when I got. So let me just run you through it real quick. So when I get drafted, right? They draft me and they sit me down. It's on video. They talk to me at the table, and then they bring Jim Clemens on video. So when they draft me, they go straight to Jim Clemens, and Jim Clemens is just now, mind you, they just bring him on as head coach.
Mm-hmm.
And then the first thing they ask him is, how's he going to deal with this situation that's going on in Dallas? And the situation was this before I get there. Supposedly, Toni Braxton invited the team while they were on the road to the studio,
Right.
right? This is crazy. So somehow, story comes up as Jim Jackson ended up dishing everybody and going, taking the limo or whatever, going to meet up with Tony at the studios on a solo.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, and
Shout out to
so
Jimmy.
now, shout out to, and so now J Kidd, and them is hot, and so supposedly now J Kidd and others is hot,
Right.
about the situation. And this story blows up in Dallas. Like this goes blowing up. This in the papers and everything. Toni Braxton got a new album coming out, so a lot of people thinking she taking advantage of it, the
Uh-huh.
situation and everything. And so um, now this has become big to where it destroys the chemistry in the locker room. This is before I
Oh,
get there. Yeah.
is that the
So
dysfunction you talking about that was in the locker room?
part of it,
Okay.
yes, that was dysfunction. With nobody talking, um, you had Jim Jackson and Jay Kidd butting heads.
Mm.
And so I get to Dallas. Jimmy picked me up from the airport. And I just asked him to go in. So what's going on, man? Tell me what's really going on. And he just tell me straight up. He said, Samaki, I wasn't even with Tony. I didn't even go to the event. He said that the story was somehow made up. He don't understand how it got out that way.
That's
They
crazy.
did get invited, but he didn't go. He said he was with his agent. He went to dinner with that night. But it came out that he thought that the agents was doing it. And he said, "I'll tell you this." He said, "Samaki," he said, in Dallas, he said, "Now Jay Kidd is a bigger star nationally than I am." He just told
Right.
me straight up. He said, "He's the bigger star." He said, "But in Dallas, because of the work I do, Jimmy's the ultimate professional." Now look at him, he's on TV now. So this is a
Yeah.
testament to what
Yeah.
he told me, right?
Right.
Dude
Mm-hmm.
was putting in work behind the scenes, professional. He putting in work. You know, a lot of us go home after the game. He doing deals, he doing this, making connections. And so in Dallas, he was bigger, it seemed, because he was getting a lot of those little deals. You know, it's only so many little deals amongst us all as players. And so supposedly Jimmy is popular in Dallas, you know, in that regard. And so I guess the agents didn't like that. And that's where the beef. And Jimmy's like, "Yo, me and Jason was literally best friends, bro." He said, "We were boys." And that situation destroyed us. I couldn't believe it. And
Wow.
so, yeah, so I'm walking into
So
that locker room
so
dysfunction. Go
nobody
ahead.
never had no conversation. It's a long ass season. That's I mean, 82 games. Nobody gonna sit this down and say, "Yo, what you think happened ain't happened."
Spam. That's what blew me. So I'm like, yo, how can this continue to fester like that? So then you got the egos about now because of this how the media do it, you know, whose team it is, because now that's what literally comes up. You know,
Mm-hmm.
been there same thing in LA with the Kobe and Shaq situation.
Mm-hmm.
So now these stories, whose team is all this, and you still got Mashburn. Now Mashburn was that dude too.
Facts. That's why it was a problem.
You know what I mean? It's the problem. All these dudes get drafted like a year apart. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I'm saying? So, and Mashburn got drafted in 95. I'm after him. So
Mm.
now you got a team of these young studs of lottery guys now who all now searching for that identity and trying to eat
Right.
and getting to that big money. And mind you, they all got paid. My year was the first year they did that whole switch the whole thing up. You got to do the 3 years, all that before you get your money. Before
Right.
you in college, you was able to come in and sign for money right away, right? So
Mhm.
that's what the situation was, the dysfunction. And then, guys was, like I said, wasn't talking. It was hard for me to deal with that. So when it came for a lot of people don't know this, but when Dallas offered me the contract, I turned it down and I left and went to go play behind Tim Duncan and David Robinson.
Yeah. Okay.
See,
Okay. Yeah. That's what we
and
about to
that's
get
what
to
happened with
next.
me. Okay,
Yeah, we was about to get to
so
that next.
go ahead.
So they offered you, and you didn't want to play there because I mean, for obvious reasons after these stories. And you went under so you played with the Spurs,
Yep.
obviously the Twin Towers. And
Yeah.
tell me about that experience. What was the difference in that from obviously? Well, I know it was a big difference at that point from Dallas to San Antonio. You went to a winning team.
I remember by the end of that season, I was losing my mind going back to the question. And I told Mashburn, man, I'm getting ready to flip. And he said, "Young fella," he said, "listen to me." He said, "The player, you never win."
Hmm.
I remember that advice like yesterday. He said, "Man, young fella," he said, "you ain't gonna win in this game." He said, "Not against these franchises and institutions." He was letting me know how this business worked and
Right.
help control your emotions. And some of that hit home. So I just shut the hell up right then and ate it. And so I said, "You know what? I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna play, do my thing. And then when my opportunity comes, I ain't losing. It was never about the money.
Hmm.
I'm old. I came from an old school background mentality, dog. I want to win. And I'm a
Right.
competitor.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
For
don't give
sure.
a damn who the best or whatever. We get on the court, we're gonna compete.
Right.
That's how we get down. So nobody was seeing my games. Shit, my parents were getting to see my wasn't on TV. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So it was
With the
hard to watch back
with the
then.
Spurs, right?
With the Mavericks. So this is why
Okay,
I
man.
left.
Okay. Okay.
So Don Nelson, just to bring you how I got to the Spurs and what sparked it.
Hmm.
So I told them I was going to play to the end of the season. That's what happened. They offered me a contract before the contract was up. I said, no, I'm going to play to the end of the season because I knew I was getting ready. My value was going up because I was learning the game at quick. And so Don Nelson came in. He didn't like that. I went from starting and getting major minutes to he didn't play me at all. Then he started playing me like a little punk at the end, put me in a minute left, 25 seconds left
Oh
here.
yeah, he's
So kind of
disrespectful.
destroyed my ego. Yeah. to destroy me, to leave me on the end of the bench, to lower my value. And so I said, okay, I waited to the end of the season, and sure enough, I didn't resign. I went to San Antonio. So he calls Popovich to ask Popovich, what you doing? Because he thought that eventually he was going to break me and I was going to take the deal. And so Popovich called me and hit me that summer and was like, yo, so you come here. And mind you, I'm a number 9 draft pick and I'm going to play behind Tim Duncan. So you have to drop the ego and all that. For
Yeah.
me now, it's about get back. Like I'm going to be in control of my career. They saying I'm there. Yeah, he it was a black eye in the way he handled the situation, but I said I'm gonna empower myself. And then sometimes you got to do that, man. You got to be willing to eat it if you want to be in control of things. You feel me?
Yep.
So so that's what I did. Mind you, I get to San Antonio.
Yeah.
He called Pop like, yo, what happened down there? I explained Pop the situation. He's like, I get it. So Pop, just keep it real. Put me in a situation that allowed me to be successful. So shout out to him because it would have manifested. I would have never got to LA if it wasn't for that vehicle and that road. And Pop allowed me to come in and rebuild myself because, I came in broken. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
Real talk. I'm keeping it real because Don Nelson, he did a job on me.
So what so how did you get to the Lakers? Is it true that Magic, Shaq, Kobe, they all called you
Yeah.
to get you over there?
So,
But
so
what
yeah,
made you
they
lose? If Pop did, if you had a good chemistry with
let
Popovich, wait,
Yep.
what made you want to leave to LA?
Man, you asking all the right questions, dog. Hey
Uh-huh.
man,
I've been doing some
I gotta
research.
let me give you your props right now. So, so nah, I got released because I was wilding out.
Uh-huh.
Mind you, like I said, I get to LA,
In San Antonio?
I was wilding out.
It's things to do out San Antonio?
Hey man, this you can do something in any city, dog. It's things to do in Utah, fam.
Okay.
It's a all right, it's some things to do in Utah. Like it's and when you got access like we do, man, it's always something. You know what I
Right.
mean? But no, it was really going down in San Antonio. And what happened? I got there, you know, I kind of lost track of basketball because of the way I got treated, you know what I'm saying, in Dallas. So I get to San Antonio, I was holding on in his anger. I knew I wanted to prove myself. And but at the same time, I created a imbalance.
Right.
My off the court life was becoming as much as important as my on court. And
Mhm.
so, they begin to to collide. And what
Right.
happened, I was balling out. Well, I said, um, Popovich gave me that opportunity, man, to really go in there and do my thing and ball out. Gave me a platform. He didn't sugarcoat it. He said, hey, if you can hoop, we're gonna give you the ball and let you do your thing, basically. And so that's what he did. Some of the same plays Tim Duncan got, I got.
Mm.
Tim Duncan, I think, got hurt in my first year there during the playoffs. I went in and balled out. I think might have been a leading shot blocker at the end of collectively at the end of the playoffs, somewhere around that, but was balling out. I had 10 blocks in one game, and they say your name on ESPN a few times. Now your name is becoming, synonymous. And so my off the court life again began to impact. I was wilding out, going back in the summertime. Wasn't supposed to have no motorcycles, but I'm out here speeding on motorcycles and everything. I was
Oh, my,
involved in the
oh
police
shit.
chase. Yeah, I was
Oh
involved in the
man.
police chase. And yeah, and so it was on ESPN and
No,
it was on TV. Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna probably get to that later. But I was like, you know what? I don't like to bring up guys' personal stuff, but
I'm
when
gonna
you
bring it up.
I was
I'm gonna
like,
give it. I
hey,
don't give a damn what nobody think. Ain't that? Hey, fam,
that's
this
what
is
I
real
like.
life, dog.
That's what I
This is real talk.
well let,
I'm a grown ass man.
let me well, let me ask you this. Is that the one where you got caught with some marijuana? That marijuana is legal
That's a
now.
total different one.
That's a
That's a
different one?
total different one. We can get there too.
That
So yeah, but now so I'm wilding out. I'm going back home in Ohio. I'm in I'm in San Antonio. Did my thing, and I done got me a Hayabusa motorcycle, damn fastest motorcycle in the damn world.
oh
My
shit.
first bike. I decided I'm gonna get me a bike, and the one night, late night, I took it out, and there's a stretch on Columbus on the freeway where it's for about a mile, mile and a half, 2 miles straight. It's a straight shot, so you can open that thing up.
Mm.
And me being bored at home, s- instead of just staying home chilling, I said, I'm gonna go out to the club, parking lot. You know how young and dumb. I said, I'm gonna go out to the parking lot. Sat in the parking
How
lot for
old were
about
you during this time? Because that's what the viewers know. Because I want people to understand, like, we make mistakes at certain ages, and you should,
Ye-
we can all
absolutely.
come back from it.
Yes, sir. I'm about 21 now. I'm about
Okay.
21, 22.
Okay.
21, 22. Yeah. So let me see, 20. Now I'm 23. No, I'm 23. It's 23. I was going 20. Yeah, because I spent my first 3 years in Dallas, and then at 20. I'm over at 20, almost 23. Yeah. So I'm between 23, 24.
That's the golden years,
Right.
brother.
Yeah. Facts. Facts. And so I'm on the bike. I get on the bike. I said, right at the club, I'm gonna go out in the parking lot for a minute. Mind you, I ain't smoking nothing to drink, nothing. Just me being young.
Mhm.
And I'm out in the parking lot, and you want to impress people. I said, I'm gonna open this thing up. I got on this damn thing. I said, there's a stretcher free right there. I'm going to stretch, and I'm great. Let this thing go. Sure enough, that's what I did. So right before I seen that, I seen a highway patrolman right there on the side. I said, damn. He seen me gun it. He coming after me. I knew he was coming. Again, young and dumb. I said, he can't catch me. He can't catch me.
Dog,
I'm gone.
a high speed chase for no reason, huh? Just want
But
to show.
no, I'm gone. He can't catch me. So I'm figuring I'm gonna be way ahead of him. I'm an extra. I'm gone. You know, you're young and dumb. You don't think rationally. You thinking in the moment. So
And especially when you got some paper on you too. You got some money now.
yeah, come on, man.
Yeah.
But very, unselfish when you're young. You just think in the moment. You thinking about yourself. But long story short, I'm gone. And truth be told, he couldn't catch me. And he
Mm.
the problem is he called some of his friends.
He calls back up.
Man, called back up. I'm talking about by the time a minute after that, there was a helicopter over my head. And I'm like, wait a minute. The helicopter came out quick. So I'm like, man, that can't be for me. Shit, the helicopter came straight down. Literally, I feel like it could have touched me on my head. That light shined on me.
Nah,
By
that's
the time I
crazy.
pulled over, it was about 9, 10 cars out there, man. And they were
Wow.
like, yo, I'm in the middle of the street like this, hands on my head. They like, yo, uh, they rushing with the guns on me. Why you running? I'm like, I ain't see y'all. So he
Oh
like,
man.
so I was too big for the first cop. He couldn't throw me on my bike. So they laid me out there in the middle of the street. And then pull the bike off bike gone. So they take the bike.
Mm.
I had to end up donating that for political purpose. I get back to San Antonio, David Robinson, he high on his faith. He
Uh-huh.
got Pop San Antonio's all good. So I get back now, I'm looking like a fool.
Yeah.
They like, yo, you need to donate that bike. I'm like, what? They're like, hey. I'm like, damn. So I gave the bike up to like highway patrolman, like widows of highway patrolmen killed in the line of duty. Just
Hmm.
I gave the bike, auctioned it off, and gave it to them. And no, that was that, man. And so, but what happened is that I showed my hand to Pop. Like, San Antonio don't do that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They ain't what they about. They
They got a
professional.
they got a strict culture over there.
They, they got a strict culture. And it's a code.
Hmm.
And truthfully, that's who I was aligned with that code. But again, getting the pent up energy from my past situation and other things, I let them things manifest
Mm.
and that went unchecked. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And this happens with a lot of us
Yeah.
athletes. This is why it's important that we learn ourselves, man, outside of basketball and develop a spirituality. And this is what I do when I challenge my son. We were talking about him later, but and developing a spirituality, man, understanding who you are outside of that people pleasing stage of trying to please everybody.
Mm.
Who you are internally. And so, but at that time, I wasn't there yet. I was still developing, still trying to find myself. And
Hmm.
basketball was the major influence,
Right.
right? That was consumed my identity. And Pop did the best thing. He released my ass. He said, look,
Mm.
because I was playing in front of Malik Rose, right? And Malik Rose is a hell of a player.
Shout out
High
Malik,
energy.
Drexel,
Shout out
Philly.
Malik.
He
You
actually
know Philly.
he's sponsored by AAU team when I was growing up. So shout out to Malik
Oh,
Rose.
shout out to Lee, good dude. One
Uh-huh.
of my partners, just straight up good dude. One of the best people you can ever just be involved with.
Hmm.
Uh, hard worker. Always he challenged each other's iron sharpen iron man in practice, but I think always had the little edge. And so, Pop, just told me straight up. He said, I'm gonna start playing Malik now over you because they knew that that image thing wasn't good. And I knew
Hmm.
my time was basically up after
Right.
that.
You going from San Antonio to LA as a different beast. I mean, you almost averaged what, a triple double? I think you averaged about 9 points and 11 rebounds at your championship year.
Yeah. I was trying to chase that extra. If I
Mhm.
needed 10, because that's incentives in there. That's that
Yeah.
9 and 9, 9 and 11 wasn't good enough. But no, it was great because you got to understand I'm coming in playing with a new team. You got to learn Kobe, Shaq. You got to learn, all the other players. Obviously, you're not even first, second, third, fourth, even fifth option.
Right.
So you got to learn how to impact the game.
Right.
Now that I'm in San Antonio, I was still getting the ball. When I went to San Antonio, I mean to LA, it was okay. How do you rebound, be productive? I'm gonna get mine off rebounds.
Mm.
Then you got to be able to finish through contact and little things like that. And so then you got to be able to stay out of those guys' way. I got to learn Kobe. I made sure with Kobe, it was all about setting solid picks,
Hmm.
making sure that anytime I set a pick, I know he's gonna get double. So that stuff with Kobe don't pass me the ball all the time because I make sure I'm gonna hit his man, make sure my guy gotta help and show. And Kobe was always good at boom, boom, hitting me, little things like that. So I learned a little. I was a high IQ basketball player, man. I give myself credit. It didn't take me long to pick up little things, and so I think that's why they gambled on me coming to LA.
Hmm.
They've been watching my career. They saw my development. It wasn't something where it was just a sputter the moment decision. They watched the development. Even in Dallas, a lot of people didn't see, but my Dallas development when I was getting the ball towards the end, right before I left. I was doing some things that was pretty impressive. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? That nobody got a chance to see it, but I had some 20-20 games,
Uh.
20 points, 20 rebounds, a couple times.
Oh
But
yeah, because Dallas didn't get a lot of media coverage, but till Dirk,
no,
till Dirk
yeah,
came
there
around.
you go.
Hmm.
And so again, and that's what happened. I saw them bring Dirk in. They got rid of everybody, brought Dirk in too.
Mm.
And then Don Nelson, I knew where Don Nelson was going. I knew he was loving the European players. And so it was kind of sly what they was doing. They would kind of have me stay after practice and beat up on Dirk when Dirk first got there.
Right.
Cause and so I knew what direction they was going with that. That's one of the reasons also why I left as well. You know what I'm saying? There was several reasons, moving forward. But yeah, I'm in LA, you know, uh, I get settled in, long story short, I get a chance to watch Kobe. I get there, people say he don't really talk to nobody. He don't really fuck with nobody. He messing, excuse me, my language, but he don't really mess with nobody. Uh, he just understand him. And then I didn't really get it because I think with me and Kobe, there was a big respect factor. Because of the way I was treated early on, I was kind of standoffish to myself. But I was always on my grind when it came to the hoop thing. When I was on the court, I worked.
Hmm.
Like I didn't give a damn who you were, what your name was. I was raised up by a strong male, by a single father, from my high school years on up. So it was all alpha. I had an alpha mentality. Like I didn't want to hang out with you and all that and things of that nature. I had my own little world, right?
Yep.
And I think Kobe, Shaq, and all the rest of those dudes respected that. Like to me, in my mind, I walk like I was Kobe and Shaq around here. Like that's how I
Yeah.
walk. I didn't see myself any different. And so call it naive or what. I'm not even talking about from a game standpoint. I'm talking about this a pure conf as a young man, because that's how I was raised. I wasn't looking up to neither one of those guys for my searching for my identity. Everything I done stupid, I did on my own. It
Right.
wasn't because I was a follower. You
Gotcha.
know what I'm saying? And so uh Kobe caught wind of that. He realized that I'd be in and out. Like I wasn't I wasn't trying to kiss nobody's ass. And so, but I was sitting around and watch dude and just watch how he move. And one day I got injured with my ankle, sprained my ankle, and I had to get in early. And first day I get in, it's probably about shit, 8 o'clock. Like, we don't practice till 11. He already in icing up and he watching videos up there, TV in the corner. He watching videos. And I'm like, okay, cool. I ain't take no really attention to it. So second day come in, same thing. He icing down, watching videos. But I noticed, like, damn, it's on the same spot. Videos down in the same spot it was yesterday. And I'm asking, like, "Yo, what you doing, bro?" Like, he breaking the video down, like, detail,
Mm,
like playing a what if game. Like, if dude do this, I need to know what he gonna do. Like, he didn't do this in the video, but what if he did do this? So
mm,
now in the video, you get a chance to ask all those questions. You get to play the what if game. I'm like, like, I watched film before, but I never thought about it in that kind of detail. Like, that's how you get ahead. That's how he's ahead. He playing the what if game, going back to the imagination. He
mm-hmm.
imagining himself in these situations. So, okay, cool. All right. Third day, same thing. I get there. So I asked Gary Vee, like, why is he icing down though? Like, yo, he practicing. Well, he practice for us? He said, yeah, he practiced, man. He be practicing and what have not. I said, damn. I said, I'm gonna go down and see what dude doing. Next day I get there early. I go watch. It's Kobe. He on the court doing his thing, going through his whole little workout. Mind you, like I said, he touching the ball. He ain't shoot the ball for 10, 15 minutes.
Mm.
He's spinning the ball out, jump stop, looking over his shoulder. Like, dude is really feeling the defense, looking over his shoulder, going through the thing
Is
again,
he
going
out
through
there
his
by himself, or
imagination.
do you got like a trainer with him?
He by himself. Ain't no trainer, ain't nobody getting
Uh,
no balls, no nothing, fam. It's him. And so he leaning. I mean, not only is he going through, but he feeling the defense, everything. Then he outside turn, right foot. Then boom, inside turn, jab. Boom, inside turn, jab. And then a shot fake. Then outside turn, fade, shot fake. Shot fake, step under. I'm like, damn, dude is out here getting his workout and he ain't took a shot yet. We connected. And considering that he wasn't supposed to be the dude that opened up to people. He started really connecting on me, talking about his boys back in Philly, how he wasn't rocking with that ain't his thing. He really was trying to fill me out at first, and I didn't catch on. He was
mm,
trying to see what kind of dude I was. Because he was like, yo, man, we was just getting ready to go back to Philly. They retired his number, his high school jersey.
at
And he
Lower
was like,
Marion.
yeah, my Lower Marion. He said, yeah, man, some of my boys just called me. They want to go hang out, but I ain't getting ready to go hang out with them dudes and all of that. And I'm thinking, why not? I'm still young. I'm still hanging out now, so I ain't register me. Kobe, he really filling me out, waiting for me to say, shit, I ain't going out either, dog. Just get in the gym.
Mm.
I ain't say that. I'm just like, yo, okay, I'm feeling him. I'm just cool. That ain't what he do. That ain't what he do. Respect. So uh we continued to kind of, what I'm saying, kick it. He was dropping, he would talk to me and say certain things because I respected he was a reader. I'm a reader.
Is it true that you and Kobe got into like a little beef over $100? Is that true?
It That's what they said was. That's what it really was.
They,
Wasn't that?
there was no
No, it
altercation.
was. I'll go tell the story. Kobe started having some issues in his personal life and things of that nature. Mind you, in comes B. Shaw. Shout out to Brian Shaw.
Mm-hmm.
Brian Shaw was when I got to the Lakers, Brian Shaw was the heart and soul, everything. He was the old vet, been around the longest. Him and Fox, right? Both had played in Boston and things of that nature. Vets. Played with Shaq in Orlando. He was the one who gave me the game about what was going on in the team, the politics, everything. What was going on with here, this dude, just to get me up to speed. And we had got to Philly, mind you, I was also talking to Kobe, but B. Shaw was the one who told me some of the things that was going on in Kobe's life at that time. Him and his parents wasn't seeing eye to eye for
Mm.
whatever reason. I guess he had married old girl, what have not. And mom and dad wasn't really feeling it. And, I ain't going all into his personal life with that, but that was the gist of it. And he told me He said, well, just wait. He said, you're gonna see some shit. He said, you're gonna see some shit when you tonight, when at this retirement, this jersey retirement. So we get to the high school, they got chairs laid out and everything there. And mind you, Kobe's mom and they get there early. They sit at one end. It's about 3 rows of chairs. You know, they got a small group of people, about 3 rows of chairs. His people sit at one end. Then Kobe and them walk in later, you know, with his wife. They sit at one end. And then I'm sitting next to B. Shaw, and I see, you know, his mom lean back, look down at the end, and just shake her head. And mind you, again, I don't know what's going on. I've been told that I'm getting ready to start sensing all this stuff. And sure enough, I see that and look, that's when B. Shaw tapped me. It was like, I'm like, whoa, you know. So I'm leading into this. I bring this up because I'm going into the story you asked me. So there was tension already that Cole was dealing with, man.
Right.
You know, and it's you got to imagine what it's like to be him, right? You know, to be great, be a hard worker, to put in the work that he's putting in, and then have obviously had a strong connection with his dad. I can't imagine that, bro. Like his
Mm-hmm.
connection with his dad is like my connection with my dad,
Mm-hmm.
and to have that no longer, I don't care what nobody say. You missing a piece of you know, and his mom. And so, um, Kobe started holding on to a little tension. And then I think that Kobe thought that him and I, were cooler than what we were.
Mm.
Again, he had kind of befriended me a little bit, but me understanding how he was too, I kept it at a distance.
Right.
Like
Kept it
I didn't get
professional.
cool with players. I kept it professional.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So him talking to me sometimes side to side again, I guess was his way of, hey, I'm cool with you. I rock with you. And so it was kind of be where I don't know what he was looking for out of it, but that's the way it was. And so when it came to the $100, yeah, the situation happened. We were on the road. I think it was going to Cleveland. We on the road somewhere, but we always shoot for $100. This wasn't the first time this happened. We shoot for $100. At the end, we put $100 in the pot. Usually put $100 in the pot. At the end, whoever gets it, you know, wins it. One particular day, I remember we had it, but a couple people didn't have cash on them. And I
Mm-hmm.
remember him winning it that day. And he said, I told him I was going to make sure I get him back, you know, get the cash to him. You got 48 hours to pay. That's the rule.
Right.
Or it doubles. But when you think about it, we NBA ball players, right? Everybody's going to pay $100.
Yeah. That's
No, we
nothing.
never had no problem with nobody not paying $100. $100.
Yeah,
Come
that's
on,
what
man.
that I was shocked to see
So,
the amount. I thought it was gonna be a bigger amount than that.
man, come on. That made the story juicy and what have not.
Okay.
What happened was the next day, we're heading to shoot around, actually. We're heading to shoot around. Kobe gets on the bus. I remember I had my headphones on. He stopped and asked me, yo, you got the 100? And I said, nah. I said, you know what? It's in my room. I told him when we get back, I give it to you. I'll make sure I get it to you. I'll get it to you then. And so I put my headphones back on.
Uh-huh.
And that's when boom, he hit me right there
Yeah.
out of the blue sky.
Nah. Nah,
Swear to God.
Kobe was standing on business like that?
Kobe was standing on business. And so,
Oh man.
um, mind you now I got to kill him. Now this
Yeah.
is where it gets, and now I got to kill him.
Cause you ain't no
Because
small
I
guy.
think, well, shit, I mean, don't get me wrong. Look, man, I'm a cool cat, right? And I live my life with principle. Some dudes that's insecure, they walk around with this bravado all the time, right? As a sense to others not to mess with me. See, I was raised by a strong male. So when you're
Uh-huh.
around me, I don't come across in no facade or I'm very secure in myself until you cross those boundaries. Real men who live with principle will make decisions based on the scenario that happens.
Right.
And so
100%.
I can be cool, be within myself, be sweet, be lovable until those boundaries are crossed. And then I got to make a decision as a man.
Right.
And so at that time, that's what happened. And I was going to kill him. And I think Kobe made a calculated decision because I was the new guy, and he was really mad at the team. We
Mm.
were losing at that time. We were losing. Like Shaq had got hurt. His big toe had got hurt. He had missed multiple games. Mind you, this is the second year. This is after we won, our NBA championship. This is that second year, and we had hit some adversity. And the truth is, team was tired. You had
Mm-hmm.
B. Shaw, Robert Ory was vets. And he couldn't go at those guys, right?
Right.
I was the new guy. He really wanted to send a message to him. That's what Kobe used to do. He would do things, want to send a message to everybody. But with me being the new guy, he wanted to send a message that he's mad at Shaq. Shaq was in and out. Uh, and truthfully is, it was going into the fourth championship, which is hard to
Mm.
do.
Yeah.
Could
Right.
nobody match his grind, and
Right.
that's what he was frustrated about, right? So that the dollar thing was just him using that as an opportunity to let out his frustration, but he fucked up because he didn't realize my response,
Uh,
and
and what
that's when I just said
and what
he
was
was
that?
trapped in the back.
Uh-huh.
We were in the back of the bus. And at that time, so I got up. First of all, I threw my iPad, hit it with my iPod. That's when iPods are still popping. So I had the iPod, hit it with my iPod, and then I got up. And that's when Foxy and everybody else they jumped up and grabbed me. So he back in the bus. He ain't going nowhere. He realized he messed up because I can see it in his eyes now. Phil Jackson see all the confusion. And he's like, yo, what's going on? Now I'm mad. I'm yelling. I'm telling him, stop the motherfucking bus. What you mean stop the bus? I told him, dude, just he sucker punched me. Stop the
Mm.
bus. What Phil do? We get right there. They stop the bus. We get to the top of the ramp. Usually we go down the ramp. We stop the bus. I move him out the way. Told him, yo, get off the bus. Of course, they ain't let him get off the bus. They hold me. They pull me into a room. They lock me up in the little room while they go out. So mind you, they don't even let me in shoot around.
Word.
Because I'm about business now. And I said, okay, cool. All right, I'm gonna get him. He got to get back on the bus. Right after the shoot around, he gone. He got his security people with him. They took a taxi and they already bounced.
Mm.
So now I'm pissed off and I got to make a decision because now I got to send a message.
Right.
Because now it's about sending a message, right?
Yeah.
Forget
All right.
all the emotional shit, right? Men do stuff and they got it. It's
It's
make a
principles.
decision.
It's principles
It's
as involved.
facts.
Mm-hmm.
So I get over. I said, okay. I get back to my room, and the most craziest thing happened. My light is flashing on my message light is flashing on my phone. So I go pick up my phone, check my message. I'm thinking it's people at the front desk. Said it's Kobe. So I listen to the message. Yo, cool. It's him talking, and dude breaks down, start crying on my phone. I swear to God, I'm like, yo, this is weird. Dude is crying on my phone,
Nah.
crying, telling me he apologized. Number one, then he says he don't know why he does these things to his friends. Like he did this to a friend. So he
Mm.
literally called me a friend. So this is why I'm coming up with my reasoning and my logic too. Also, he befriended me in the things of that nature because it was weird because he literally cried in there in the thing and said, I don't know why, I do that to my friends, what have not, and kept on going. He apologized. But now, again, I understand. Then I get a knock on my door. It's one of the security guards, one of the cool security. He had a few security guards. One of them was cool because he would always talk to us and what have not. Other dudes always seem like they real serious and everything. Like, man, cut that out. So, but one of them was real cool and always talk to us and chop it up. And he knocked on my door, tried to talk to me and everything. And I just told him, listen, bro. I said, this ain't got nothing to do with you, man. I said,
Mm-hmm.
Kobe made a decision. For whatever it was, he made a decision. And I said, I got to make a decision. Simple as that. And he left at that, went back down to the room and didn't say anything else. And so
So the
I
security
said,
guard, I may cut you off. The
yeah,
security guard was coming up to make sure you was cool. Like, yo, you got the message. You cool now. We good.
yeah,
Okay. Okay.
yes. He trying to make sure everything cool.
Mm-hmm.
So
But you
I'm
was
like,
like,
I made up
nah.
my mind.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I get it.
Nah,
I
Nah,
get it.
I made up my mind. So I know Kobe get over to the gym early. So I know he work out. He a professional. He get
Right.
over do his thing. So I go over early anyway. Cause I had me, AC Green taught me how to get over and be a professional. I get over and get on the treadmill and everything early. They got a weight room. If most teams got a weight room on the road, I'm in the weight room.
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing something. Cause that's how I was taught.
Mm-hmm.
And so I get over in the weight room. I beat Kobe, everybody over there. Now I take my tack, beat the bus, everything. I'm like, I'm just gonna sucker punch dude. I'm gonna knock. I ain't not no sucker punch. I'm gonna punch. I'm gonna straight up and knock the shit out of him. Plain and
Mm-hmm.
simple.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm in the other team's opposing weight room. I'm on the treadmill. In come Jerome, Shaq's bodyguard.
Mm.
So Big Rome come in, who I got nothing but respect. I spent a lot of time with Shaq and Rome, who also befriended me. Uh, Jerome, shout out Jerome, one of the realest dudes, uh, realest dudes around, Big Rome. So he come in, and he said, look, man, he said, Samaki, he said, I know what happened. He said, I know how you feel, but remind me, go back to the story I said when I was with Dallas with Jamal Mashburn sitting on the bench and I was ready to trip. He was like, this ain't a winning situation for you. He said, you know the politics and everything behind it, basically. Long story
Mm-hmm.
short, ain't in your favor. But me, I'm like, yeah, I listen to Rome too. Instead of getting all emotional, yeah, I listened to him. Listen to what he said. And he ended. He said, now, I got this outside. He had Kobe waiting outside of the
Right.
weight room. I said, oh, word? He said, he want to come in and talk to you, man. So he come in, we bring Kobe in. Kobe stand right here in front of my face. He didn't know if I was going to swing on him or not. But the, I seen the respect in his eyes, man to man.
Right.
That's what I was looking for.
Mm-hmm.
Now I ain't sitting down, earphones on, all that. I'm standing eye to eye. We talking. And he apologized, man. Again, he called me a friend again. It's the second time I heard it. And was like, look, man, he told me he had some things going on. I said, listen, look, I already know. I was made privy to this information, bro, just so you know what's going on. That you have some personal things going on, but as a man, I don't give a damn what you got going on in your life. You don't put your hands on another man unless you're really ready to get down. That's the most disrespectful thing you can do. But
Right.
I said, you know what? I got to chop it up. I got to chop it up. I made my decision because now we getting ready to play a TV game. It come out, me and him getting a fight before the game, all this. Long story short, that's Kobe Bryant. I'm blessed to be back in this thing anyway.
Right.
You know what I mean? The Spurs released me. So it's that's what happened. We chopped it up. Long story short, we ended up talking after that, befriended me. He ended up giving me some shit, some Cobes that were he won the black and gold ones, I think he had worn the All-Star game.
Gotcha.
That I designated to my charity and all that stuff, man. So we chopped it up after that and became cool, man. But it was a hell of a situation.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a hell
Did
of a
you
situation. It,
do
it
you
tested the,
think
the ego, the pride. Go ahead.
do you think that I didn't mean to cut you off, but I wanted to ask this because I saw that
Yep.
because you did a great year with the Lakers, and then
Yep.
you got traded the next year. Do you think that has something to do with it?
I think that's another reason why, I was moved on too, because I think they wanted to get Carl a ring and Gary a ring, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so the thing is that player and that power forward was mainly a role guy, you know, defensive guy, rebounder, what have not, uh, blue collar player. That's usually been the success of that particular position. And you bring in Karl Malone and they get there, but there was also Karl Malone as a scorer needed the ball and things of that nature. You had a lot of stuff going on in there. Then you had from what I hear, some personal stuff going on between Carl and Kobe too, right?
Mm.
So, uh, which by then I think that's Kobe's MO too. I think Kobe always trying to send a message to somebody
Let me
who's
ask
the
you. Let me
dominant
ask you.
alpha male. Yeah.
As a fan, right? Like
Yep.
I grew up watching you guys, and
Yep.
you always hear the rumors. Do you think, or do you feel like Kobe was hard for people to play with, as far as like Because that was always a rumor. Like he hard to play with.
Not for me, dog. What led me to leaving the Lakers was there were several things. Robert Ory and several guys were aging. They needed to rebuild. You had Karl Malone and them hadn't won a championship. I know the front office talked to Shaq and Kobe and they gave them the green light. Want to bring Gary and them. I'm cool. That's business.
Right.
We can't sit up here and be personal about that in this business, man. Oh, they got ready. They did that. This is business, dog.
Yeah.
And more of these young kids need to understand that. This is the grind. I thank the Lakers for bringing me in. They didn't have to bring me in. You know how many other dudes they could have brought in?
Yep.
They brought Samaki Walker in. I got a ring. So now it's on to the next. And so with that being said, mind you, now I did now go then through that summer. I'm wilding out. Now I'm going back to the LA. We in LA now. You know, mind you, myself is growing. The basketball player is growing. Then you got this other, myself, the real me, also competing with the basketball version of me. And sometimes that basketball version of me won out.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so that summer is how I got to Miami. I ended up going home that summer. I flipped my car 5 times.
Doing what? Speeding?
Flipping. So what I asked by accident. So what I went partying all that year. They didn't resign me. So I said, damn, I'm going party. I went to Cancun. I went to everything. They had I think the Jazz Essence Fest, whatever we had in New Orleans down there. I remember Kurt Thomas calling me. Shout out to Kurt Thomas.
Hey, Chris,
Yo, we down here, come kick it. Kurt Thomas, my guy.
Yeah.
Shout out to KT. KT is the first dude that kept it real with me and told me, hey, man, your game ain't shit. You need to do these things. And sure enough, and me and Kurt was the first dude that I battled with in the summer and said, you know what, this dude right. Like, I like this dude's game. Let me learn from this dude. Now, the doctor, he explained to me, he said, yeah, man, you was in a serious car accident. I said, what? He said, yeah, I'm looking at the reports here. He said, the reports said, yeah, you was on the expressway. I don't know what happened. You veered off and you hit the median and the car flipped 4 to 5 times. I said, what? I said, yeah.
Did you pass out?
It's crazy because now I got a metal plate with 7 screws in this arm for the rest of my life.
Sure.
But that's what blew me because now I'm like, damn, it's over. It's a wrap. No more basketball. God done blessed me again. Here I am. I'm in the hospital for not even a day. I broke my arm. I'll go back and look at the car. My dad said, he said, son, you got to go check this car out, man. He said, you ain't going to believe this. He take me to the junkyard. First of all, I'm mad because I want my possessions after I leave the hospital. That night, I knew I had about 2,500 cash on me, this cash in my pockets.
Right.
And going out. And then I'm like, man, I'm arguing with them. Now, y'all got my money. They're like, Mr. Walker, we don't got your money because you check with the EMS people. I said, no, I'm going to call them too. Find out. I know how much money I had. I had my ID and everything all on me. He said, we ain't have no ID. We ain't know that when you came in. So my dad get me out the hospital, take me straight to the junkyard. I look at the truck. Mind you, I rented SUV, Expedition. Mm-hmm. At that time, the Expedition and rollovers which was crazy. I found out later that year the Expeditions was the #1 crash car for rollovers. I found that out after my accident going to the state fair. They had a model of the same type of car. It was a different color. It was an Expedition. They had out there as a model on this spinning thing, talking about the cars. This was the safest car in the SUV rollover. And the damn car looked the same way, just like my car that I had the accident. Anyway, the car, everything was smashed in. The only way I made it out was because the seat must have broke back and it saved me. But the hood, the driver side, the passenger side, everything is smashed, crunched in. There's no way I would have made it if the seat didn't break back. So I look inside the car, look in there. Sure enough, they butterflied me out my clothes and everything. My clothes were still in the car. I reached in there, I'm like, you got my clothes. I reach in the pocket, my cash
That's
still in
all
there, my
there.
ID, everything in the damn my shit, man.
Oh man.
I say God crazy. So now I'm a free agent again, though, right? Free
You were a
agent
free
again.
agent before the accident.
Yeah,
Okay.
because this is after my second year with LA. This is the summer.
Right.
I'm going into the summer. I'm just LA. We ain't re-signed with LA. Made another bonehead decision. I should have just went home and got some sleep. Now I wasn't. Here's the thing. It wasn't alcohol related, drug related. It was more so I made a bad decision, being a people pleaser. And this is one thing I'll talk to my son and kids today about, that can be just as dangerous as drugs.
Yep.
When you
Absolutely.
become a people pleaser, because instead of going home and get some rest, I had to give them what they want. I had to go out there, give them a little bit of look at Samaki, and it almost cost me my life that night. And so I get a phone call from the Heat. I still got a cast on my arm and everything. Pat, like, we know what you do. They fly me in. All they want to do is x-ray my arm and everything because there was a tendon in his wrist. They say they see these kind of accidents, these wrist breaks before, and usually the tendon and the arm is usually dysfunctional or something happens. And they said, oh, well, the doctor who did your surgery did a marvelous job. And they said, look good to us. They signed me right there on the spot.
You got some amazing stories, bro. Like I wasn't even expecting, I've read a lot about you. I wasn't expecting this part of the story. So when you got to Miami, how was that received? Because that was probably that was the last team you played for, right?
Yep. No, I ended up playing for the Wizards
Oh,
after
that's
that
right, the
too. It's
Wizards. You
crazy.
did play
Yep.
for the Wizards. Uh-huh.
Yeah. So I get to Miami. Now, they brought me in because you got Brian Grant there. You know Brian Grant was a horse worker.
Yeah, absolutely. He had his best years with the Blazers. I remember.
Black facts. And so I got huge respect for BG. I get a chance to go work with somebody like that now. And now I'm like, okay, it's on and popping. Lamar Odom down there. This is D Wade's rookie year.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. D Wade, Karan Butler there.
Yeah. All
Young
those
fellas,
guys.
rookies,
Yeah.
hungry, young dogs.
Yeah, Lamar Odom was balling, man. He averaged about 16 for y'all.
That's what got him to
Wade
LA.
averaged like 15. Butler averaged like 6, 7 points. Yeah, all
Ball,
young guys. Uh-huh.
balling. Skip to my Lou.
Yep, Skip. I remember that.
Yeah. Eddie Jones. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So now it was the team made some noise that year because people don't know they initially started playing D Wade at a point guard and realized now we gotta move this dude to the 2. He a 2. That's when they took him off the ball, and that's when Flash was born. And so and it was crazy because I seen D Wade, he had bought his first car. His first car was like a PT Cruiser, not the PT Cruiser, but a GT, something like that.
I know it wasn't the PT Cruiser. I'll do it
It
like
was
that.
it was it was a crew. It was a what was the one that had the
The
grill that looked
Chrysler?
like a damn
You talking about the
there you
Chrysler.
go.
Okay, I
There
got
you
you.
go.
Yeah,
There you go.
PT Cruiser is a Chrysler too, but you talking about the not the six the Chrysler look like a Bentley and all that. Yeah, I got you. I got you.
That's where I was going.
Yeah,
Because I remember I'm like, that's when they was popping and everything. That was his first ride. And I'm talking about a dude had a smile like this, bro. He was happy. He was like, yo, after practice, I need to come out and look at my new whip. And that's when we all looking. I'm thinking he had bought himself the big body or something. It was the Chrysler. And that's when I said, yo, first of all, I was impressed to see how happy he was with his first car. And it wasn't no Benz, it wasn't none of that. And then I was humbled by that. And that's when I told him, I said, young fella, because we had several practices by then. I said, young fella. I said, he was destroying us in practice. I don't think I've ever been in a practice where the whole team just looked at silly. Like he used to give him the ball. He used to split every double team dog. Wasn't that we can do. And John Wallace, shout out to J-Dub. J-Dub said, yo, he's a problem. That's when we nicknamed him the problem. His nickname was the problem because this dude, what nothing you can do. He was tossing that thing through you jump out hard on him, he's splitting all that.
Oh,
it was crazy.
We gotta pause something, bro. He gotta pause that. That was crazy. That's crazy, Maki. Go ahead. Keep going, bro.
But yeah, that was it, man. And so that was my experience. And unfortunately it was short-lived because Pat Riley, shout out to Pat Riley, man, who helped extend my career.
Mm-hmm.
He gave me my opportunity. Fortunately, when I got out the cast and everything, I got to my first couple games, then my body wasn't right. And I went to Pat and was like, yo, I think I'm done, dog. He's like, what you mean? He said, man, my body ain't right. You know, mind you, I had the accident. I haven't played since then. I said, I'm about to take some time off, to work on my body. And I said, I was embarrassed because Pat, considering his history, brought me there to Miami. I know what he was looking for. I know what he thought of my game. He wouldn't have brought me there if he didn't think I could have an impact. And I wasn't able to execute. And so I offered to get the money back. He looked at me like, what? I said, man, I'm serious. I said, he was like, nah. He said, listen, this is what you're going to do. I think I shocked him too. I don't think he ever heard a player say that. I think
listen, you just shocked me. I'm shocked.
And obviously that's an old school thinking. But nobody say that nowadays. But I'm young, and I realized that I have so much respect for the dudes like this that when you're young, you don't want to let them down. And that was the mentality. And so that's when I think I gained the respect. It's like, nah, you're going to get here. You're going to get healthy. We're going to work with you, what have not. They didn't sweat me. There was no tension. Going back to your original question, I didn't want to forget about that. Wasn't no tension.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have to walk around there on pins and needles. I barely played there in Miami.
Mm-hmm.
I only played a few games, but shout out to Pat Riley. Showed me to the best doctors because they found out that I had a bone spur in my foot. The doctor said it was the biggest bone spur he ever removed. He don't know how I was playing on it. And so they let me recover that whole year and get my body right, which kind of set up the rest of my career playing abroad, the Wizards and what have not.
Good for you, bro. Well, shoot, man, listen, I'm loving these stories, bro. I'm gonna move on to the next segment because I'm pretty sure you got some gems for these segments as well. So we got a segment called Brainwash to Think Elite. So what it is just for us to think outside of the box, right? So right now, the thing for young kids, youth players, the AAU circuit, they're playing on 4 or 5 different teams. They're playing several games on a weekend. And you have a son, Jabari Walker, who plays for the Blazers. And what I want to know is your development process with Jabari. Was it something similar to what's going on now? Did you start him at AAU real early, playing several different games a weekend, 5 different AAU teams? How was your process with him?
With Jabari and these guys, I said, listen, man, this is bigger than basketball. Basketball is a platform. We come from the hood. I came from the hood.
Right.
I don't give a damn just how great you're going to be as a basketball player. Are you going to be able to live a good life? Are you going to be able to help others? Are you going to be able to do things in your life that you want to do?
Right.
I don't care what the rest of the world, what these other parents get caught up in. Like, you're my son. I'm not getting ready to chase you around in all these AAU games. I ain't do none of that. Well, we spent our time outside at the parks, working, grinding. And then later on, the AAU came. He only played 1 year. I think EYBL, and he had to make that. Right. And then, and that was no guarantee. Then he came off the bench with all that. It was the politics and all that. And so he wanted to do that at the end. During that time, Jabari wasn't unheard of. Jabari didn't even get a scholarship to his senior year.
Oh, wow. And was that Colorado? Colorado was first?
Well, okay. No. I'm going to keep it real with you. Because it was, Jabari was a little, he had to learn how to get a motor, right? One of the hard things to do is teach these kids to play off the ball. So to give you an idea of what I was going through as a father, you got this ball is life, you got all this emergence, these highlights and things of this nature, teaching these kids to be highlight kids, right?
Right.
Now, it's harder for me than it was for my dad because now you got social media telling kids, nah, do it this way. Look at such and such. Do it this. Live vicariously through him. Don't find out your identity. Be such and such. Right. And now you got kids who are caught up into the house of highlights, ball is life, clips, not real work. And then
Right.
everybody's life is perfect on social media, right?
Absolutely. Talk to him, man. Obviously,
You know what I
because
mean?
I coach the youth. I have a basketball program myself, and
Okay.
I'm trying.
Congratulations to you for that, first
Thank
of
you,
all.
brother. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
I'm always trying to explain to parents, kids that y'all just seeing a small glimpse of things. Basketball doesn't work like that. The stuff that you're practicing on, you probably will never get an opportunity to do in the game. And if you do, it's a very small percentage of time that you do it, and is effective at that. So,
That, you,
because my basketball program, what we like to do is we focus on college brand basketball. So understanding when to give up the basketball, understanding how to utilize the jump stop, value in the ball, which I don't see kids do anymore. Enjoy playing with each other, enjoy passing, because you're going to go into roles where you're not going to be the guy. You're going to be someone who's passing the ball to someone else most times. And then if you do right in your role and you do right in your system, the coach will now promote you to a more of a glorious role, if you would say. But yeah, but keep going, man. I had to get, I got a little emotions got
that's
caught up
dope.
in that, man. But you, because I'm right now in my currently in my business, I'm going through that tug of war where I'm trying to explain, yo, because my program, I don't do the whole 40 kids in one gym and they standing around on five baskets with 7 kids waiting on a turn to go to the cone. I like small groups, 7 to 12 kids in the gym, and they're all getting
Yep.
the ample amounts of opportunity. They're getting ample amounts of attention. We got 3
Yep.
coaches for the 12 guys to make sure everyone's doing things correctly. And you know what? People just don't like the development process. The development process is ugly. It's ugly. You're missing shots. You're losing games. You're frustrated at times. It takes time. It takes time to develop. And I'm glad you're saying what you're saying, because they don't believe me. They don't believe
So
me. So.
a lot of people don't understand that there's a psychological component to all this that's the most important, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's the part that's going to determine the kid's character. So what I try to do is paint a picture like my dad did. Shout out to my dad who gave me this. If you're not painting the picture about the journey and what we're doing, because we know that it's going to be like this, then more than likely you're going to fail. And that's what happened with 95% of the people. They don't understand they're built for the journey. And so what I do, like you, I was in the middle with the parents and all that. I quit doing that. So with my program, I want power and control.
Right.
I don't do it for the bread. I'm blessed where I'm at, financially. So what I did was I did all that. I had the big camps. I was with the coach up. I was the #1 coach in Cali for the trainer for a minute. All that. I was getting imports in from China, from all over the country. They looking me up online. I'm #1. They would go to Kobe's camp, Santa Barbara, and then bring the group to me. So the bread and all that was coming in. But I didn't like that because it felt watered down.
Yeah, that's where I was at. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I wasn't hands-on with that. The bread was great.
Right.
But I didn't feel like I was having an impact. And for somebody who was looking for purpose at this time in their life, I felt the void.
Right.
And so I had to make a decision. Is it all about the money, or do you want the power and the control? Because you really, because I said, Mark, you good at what you do, dog. You patient, you take time, and you can articulate things well to where people understand. That's a skill.
Yeah.
And I said, you got to make a decision. Is it about the bread, or do you really want to have an impact? And so, at that time, I had my boys and everything with me too. And so what the problem was, I was giving all my time to them, and they was getting a little tired, shitty version of me.
Right.
I'm trying to train them, but I'm tired and everything because they with me, train them with all my clients.
Right.
I throw them in some of the practice. Then they like, yo. So I had to, first of all, I had to give them the best version of me. So I had to cut back on that. And then what I did was, because I seen it changing, the dynamics with the globalization of the basketball business has grown, right?
Right.
And if there's good and bad in that. There's good because there's more jobs and more opportunities for the young kids to play.
Right.
Well, you brought in the shoe companies and everything. That destroyed it took the real coaches like yourself and me. Basically, it's pushing us to the side because what we do is slow progress.
Yes.
They want to put the kids out there and let them run.
Yeah. They
don't want you sitting here, come here, young fella, grab me by the hook. This is what you need to do wrong. Now you slowing the kid down, you holding them back. Now I'm teaching. That's what holding the kid back is now.
Yeah, exactly. So
right?
that's my thing. I love teaching. I got people don't understand that part of it. They just think you should. They think it's like coaching is just like you just having a strategy. You just having a strategy for a game, and you picking the best players around the neighborhood or at the park, and you're this great coach. But I enjoyed the teaching of it. Like what you saying, it's hard to do that if you got 50 kids in the gym. I like to do it with 14. And I had my program was, it was all throughout West LA from Venice, Palisades to Malibu,
Okay,
12, 15 teams all ran by four people, right?
okay,
And I was, I'm the head coach of it, but I wasn't, like you said, I wasn't connected. It was kids in the program that I didn't meet yet. Like, so for me, it was just like, this ain't what I got
right.
into it for. So I did. So, of recently, of late, because of the fires and everything, God made me make that sacrifice and made me realize to
Mm,
get me back to my purpose of being a coach,
mm,
of being a teacher to it.
yeah,
Now I'm down to about 5 teams, 6 teams, but at the end of the day, that's where I want to be. That's what I'm
yeah,
okay with having 6, 7 teams as long as the players come in ready to work and they focus and they want to learn. Like you said, you got to be willing to make mistakes. That's how you're getting better. If you go to a classroom and you know all the answers to the test without studying, how good is the teacher? You get what I'm saying? So that's how I like to. That's what I like to do with my group. I like to make sure I'm teaching at all times. Now this ain't no high school either. I'm talking 8-year-olds, 6. I still enjoy it. Like after this interview, I'm about to go out and coach some 9-year-olds. You know what I mean? So
that's what I do. Yes, on the weekends, I ride my bike to the park, fam, and that's what I go do. Is I
mhm.
go start with my 8-year-olds come at 8:30 because I want to be outdoors.
Last question on as far as you as a parent. Um, when did you let the reins go for your kid, for Jabari in particular? Because I know that's what a lot of parents struggle with. When to let the reins go, like when to let your kid just become himself, or let someone else take over, like a teacher or a trainer.
Man, you you asked what it did. That's why I know you definitely a trainer, coach, and you're a father yet?
No, I'm not a father yet.
Oh, okay. Well, that's damn. You asking the right questions. Um, it's probably different for everybody, based on the kid's personality.
Hmm.
With Jabari was a little spoiled, to be
Hmm.
honest, and this generation is. And it took me some learning on the fly too, because you got to learn when to be tough, when not to be with this generation.
Right.
So Jabari,
Absolutely.
and this, just to get some context to it, Jabari went back and forth between his mom. Mainly there was his mom, it was me during the summers and things of that nature. So for me, it was just as important as being dad as was his basketball. So our basketball times were intense and it
Hmm.
was straight to the point. And so Dash, Dash Athletics, I'm sure you heard of Dash,
Mm.
trainer
He out here in
um,
LA.
out here in LA. Dash is trained, he trains a lot of NBA guys now. His name is Dash Athletics. And he's the only other person I let train my son because he was passionate about the details.
So you didn't.
That's what I
So
want.
Jabari didn't have 5 trainers, 6 trainers.
Only other person that trained than me was Dash.
Okay, makes sense.
That was that. Yeah, and that's who we
I'm
training with
being
now.
sarcastic. I'm being sarcastic because I know
Yeah,
a lot of kids they got like 4 or 5 trainers and shit. And I'll be like, bro, you don't need 4 or 5 trainers. You trust one.
he's training with Dash now. Dash, he's training um, several NBA guys. He worked with the Durant's, all of them. He's training my guy from Boston. Man, I'm having all kind of the second lead scorer in Boston.
Jason Tatum. Oh no, Jalen Brown.
Jalen Brown, he's training.
Uh,
He's Jalen Brown's trainer, I think Jalen's probably funding on the funds for the his program, basketball program now, from what I hear. But um, Dash started out from here, and I had an opportunity to connect my son early. And so, other than myself, I needed to get him away from me because I need to be dad. It's hard being dad and trainer too, because some point in time when you want them on the court, don't think that just because they're your kids that they're not human.
and they don't get tired of hearing your voice. And so with that, I had to choose, do I want my voice to be louder at home or on the court? And since they wanted to play basketball, and basketball was such a thing, a lot of times I wanted just to be dad at home. And so I had to start transitioning them early on into who can I get them to that's going to push them and be an extension of my values. And that was Dash. Dash was that guy.
Shout out
the
to
detail.
Dash.
Was that?
I said, shout out to Dash.